The rain hit the metal roof like 1,000 tiny hammers. Maya Park stood in the doorway of her small motorcycle repair shop, watching the water pour down from the dark sky. It was almost 8 in the evening, and she should have closed an hour ago. But she'd been checking the shop one more time, making sure everything was locked up properly. The shop sat on the edge of Busan, where the city streets turned into highway. It was not a fancy place. The building was old, with chipped paint on the walls and a sign that needed fixing. Inside, there were tools hanging on the walls, spare parts on metal shelves, and 2 repair stations where motorcycles could be lifted and fixed. The concrete floor had oil stains that would never come out no matter how many times Maya scrubbed them. Maya was 22 years old, thin and strong from years of lifting heavy motorcycle parts. Her black hair was always tied back in a ponytail to keep it out of her face while she worked. She wore old jeans and a gray work shirt with her name stitched on the pocket. Her hands had small scars and calluses from working with tools every day. 6 months ago, her father had died. He had owned this shop for 20 years, building it from nothing into a place where riders trusted him with their bikes. Maya had grown up in this shop, learning to use wrenches before she learned to write properly. Her father had taught her everything about motorcycles, how to listen to an engine and know what was wrong, how to feel when a part was fitted just right, how to treat every bike like it was the most important one in the world. Now the shop was hers. But it was not going well. Maya walked back inside and sat down at the small desk in the corner. She opened the drawer and pulled out a stack of papers. Bills. So many bills. The rent was due in 2 weeks and she did not have enough money. Business had been slow for months. Fewer customers came. The bigger shops in the city had newer equipment and more mechanics. They could fix bikes faster and cheaper. Her mother worked night shifts at a hospital across town trying to help pay the bills. Maya did not want to worry her mother more than necessary. Her mother was already tired all the time, working long hours and barely sleeping. Maya had promised herself she would find a way to save the shop without asking her mother for help. She looked up at the wall where a photo hung in a simple frame. Her father, smiling next to a beautiful vintage motorcycle he had restored. Maya felt her throat tighten. She missed him every single day. She missed his laugh, his terrible jokes, the way he hummed old songs while he worked. "I am trying, Dad," she whispered to the photo. "I am really trying." The rain got heavier. Thunder rumbled somewhere far away. Maya stood up and decided it was really time to go home. She would walk to the bus stop and hope she did not get too wet. She had sold her own motorcycle 2 months ago to pay for shop supplies. That was when she heard the sound. Motorcycle engines struggling and coughing. They were getting closer. Maya went back to the doorway and looked out. Through the rain, she saw 3 headlights coming down the street. 3 motorcycles moving slowly, making terrible noises. They pulled into her shop's small parking area and stopped. The engines died one by one. 3 teenage boys got off the bikes. They were completely soaked. Water dripped from their helmets and jackets. Maya could see school uniforms under their riding gear. They looked young, maybe 16 or 17 years old. They looked scared and tired. "Please," one of them called out, his voice barely heard over the rain. "Please, is this shop still open? Our bikes broke down. We do not know what to do." Maya should have said no. She should have told them to come back tomorrow. She was exhausted and had no energy left. But she saw how young they were. She saw how worried they looked. And she remembered being that age, falling in love with motorcycles, feeling like riding gave her freedom she could not find anywhere else. "Come inside," she said, waving them over. "Get out of the rain." The 3 boys pushed their motorcycles under the small covered area next to the shop. Then they hurried inside, taking off their helmets. They were all shivering, their hair stuck to their foreheads. Water pooled on the floor around their boots. The tallest boy stepped forward. "Thank you so much. I am Jinho, this is Minseo in Taiwan. We were riding home from our friend's house and our bikes just started having problems." "How far from home are you?" Maya asked. "About 15 kilometers, the boy named Minseo said. He had round glasses that were covered in water drops. "We tried to keep going, but the bikes kept getting worse. We thought they might stop completely." Maya looked at the 3 of them. They were just kids. Good kids, probably. Not the type who caused trouble. They had the look of boys who saved their money and dreamed about motorcycles the way she had dreamed about them at their age. "Sit down," she said, pointing to the old couch in the corner of the shop. It was worn and had duct tape covering a torn spot, but it was dry. "Let me make you some tea," We can pay, Jinho said quickly. He reached into his pocket and pulled out some wet bills. Minseo and Taewon did the same. They counted their money together. We have 15,000 won. Is that enough? Maya looked at the money. 15,000 won. That was barely enough to buy the parts she would need, let alone pay for her labor. A proper repair job would cost at least 10 times that amount. These boys had no idea how expensive motorcycle repairs were. She could tell them to come back with more money. She could tell them to call their parents. She could send them away. That would be the smart business choice. The choice that would help her pay rent. But Maya could not do it. She saw herself in these boys. She remembered being young and having almost no money, but loving motorcycles so much that she spent every bit of pocket money on her bike. She remembered how her father had sometimes helped young riders for free, saying that the motorcycle community took care of its own. Keep your money, Maya said. I will look at your bikes. No charge. What? All three boys spoke at the same time. You heard me. Keep it. Save it for gas money to get home. Maya went to the small kitchen area in the back and started heating water for tea. How long have you had your bikes? The boys looked at each other, surprised and confused. Taewon spoke up. We saved money for almost a year. We bought them used 3 months ago. They are not expensive bikes, but we love them. They are our first motorcycles. Maya smiled a little. First motorcycles. She remembered her first bike. A beat-up old thing that broke down more often than it ran, but she had loved it like nothing else in the world. She made 3 cups of hot tea and brought them to the boys. They took the cups with both hands and bowed their heads in thanks. They were polite kids, raised well. Drink that and warm up, Maya said. I am going to check your bikes. It might take a while. You can sleep on that couch if you need to. I will wake you when I am done. You are really going to fix all 3 bikes? Minseo asked. In this rain? Right now? In this rain right now, Maya confirmed. She grabbed her heavy raincoat from the hook by the door. That is what mechanics do. She pulled on the coat and went back outside. The rain hit her face like cold needles. She did not care. She walked to the first motorcycle and started checking it. Bad spark plugs. The second bike had a clogged fuel line. The third one had electrical problems. All fixable, but it would take time. Maya looked back through the shop window. The 3 boys sat on the couch holding their teacups, watching her with wide eyes. They could not believe someone was doing this for them. She turned back to the motorcycles and got to work. The rain poured down harder. Water ran down her neck and soaked through her clothes. Her fingers got cold and stiff. The tools slipped in her wet hands. But Maya kept working. Midnight came and went. 1 in the morning. 2 in the morning. Maya's back ached. Her knees hurt from kneeling on the concrete, but she moved from one bike to the next, fixing each problem carefully. She used parts from her shop's dwindling supply, parts she needed to sell to make money, but she did not think about that now. Inside the shop, the 3 boys had fallen asleep on the couch, crowded together for warmth. They looked even younger when they slept. Just kids who loved riding. At 2:30 in the morning, Maya finished the last repair. She tested each motorcycle. All 3 engines started perfectly now. They ran smooth and clean. She smiled even though she was completely exhausted and soaked to the bone. She was her father's daughter, and her father would have done exactly the same thing. Maya went back inside the shop, dripping water all over the floor. Her whole body felt heavy with tiredness. Her clothes stuck to her skin, cold and uncomfortable. But the work was done. All 3 motorcycles were fixed and ready to ride. She looked at the 3 boys sleeping on the couch. They were piled together like puppies, completely exhausted. Jinho's head rested on Minseo's shoulder. Taewon had his arms crossed and his chin on his chest. They looked peaceful. Maya felt bad about waking them, but they needed to get home. Their parents were probably worried sick. She walked over quietly and gently touched Jinho's shoulder. Hey, she said softly. Wake up, your bikes are ready. Jinho's eyes opened slowly. For a moment he looked confused about where he was. Then he remembered and sat up quickly. The bikes? Really? Already? The movement woke the other 2. They all scrambled to their feet, looking at Maya with sleepy but excited faces. All 3 are fixed, Maya said. You should be able to ride home with no problems now. But take it easy on the way. The roads are wet and dangerous. The boys rushed to the door and looked outside. The rain had slowed down to a light drizzle. Their motorcycles sat waiting, water dripping off the seats and handlebars. They ran out to check them and Maya followed. Jinho started his bike first. The engine roared to life, smooth and strong. No more coughing or struggling. His face lit up with pure joy. It sounds perfect. Minseo and Taewon started their bikes next. Both engines purred beautifully. The boys looked at each other and started laughing with relief and happiness. They had been so worried their bikes were ruined forever. How much do we owe you? Jinho asked, reaching for his pocket again. We know 15,000 won is not enough. We can ask our parents. We can pay you back over time. Please tell us how much. Maya shook her head. I already told you. No charge. But you worked for hours, Minseo said. In the rain. In the middle of the night. You used your parts. You have to let us pay something. Listen to me, Maya said. She looked at each of them seriously. When I was your age, I loved motorcycles just like you do. I had no money either. Sometimes people helped me when I needed it. That is how the motorcycle world works. We take care of each other. But why? Taewon asked quietly. You do not even know us, Maya thought about how to explain it. Because someone did the same for me once. And maybe someday when you see another rider who needs help, you will remember this night, and you will help them too. That is how kindness works. It keeps moving forward. The three boys stood there in the drizzling rain looking at her like she was some kind of hero. Their eyes were shiny with tears they were trying not to cry. These tough teenage boys who wanted to seem cool were completely overwhelmed. Jinho suddenly bowed very deeply. It was a formal, respectful bow. The kind you give to someone very important. Minseo and Taewon did the same. They held the bow for a long moment. Thank you, Jinho said, his voice thick with emotion. We will never forget this, never. We promise, Minseo added. We will remember you forever. Maya felt her own throat get tight. Just ride safe, wear good gear, and take care of those bikes. They will take care of you if you take care of them. She gave them some safety tips. She checked their tire pressure one more time. She wrote down her phone number on 3 pieces of paper and gave one to each boy. If you ever have bike trouble again, you call me. Day or night. Understand? They nodded, putting the papers carefully in their wallets. Then they put on their helmets. They started their bikes again just to hear those perfect engines one more time. They waved at Maya and she waved back. Then they rode away into the early morning darkness, their taillights disappearing down the wet street. Maya stood there for a while watching them go. She felt tired but good, like she had done something right, something her father would be proud of. Then she went back inside and reality hit her again. She hung up her wet coat and looked around the shop. It was almost 3 in the morning. She needed to go home and get at least a little sleep before coming back to open at 9. But first she had to face what she had been avoiding. Maya walked to the desk and opened the drawer. She pulled out the papers again. The bills. The numbers that kept her awake at night. On top of the pile was a letter from her landlord. She had read it a dozen times already, but she read it again. The message was clear. If she did not pay next month's rent by the end of the week, she would be evicted. The shop would be closed. Everything her father built would be gone. Maya sat down heavily in the old desk chair. It squeaked under her weight. She looked at the numbers one more time, doing the math in her head that she had already done 100 times. She needed 40,000 won for rent. She had maybe 10,000 in the bank. Even if she got a few customers this week, she would not make enough. She looked up at her father's photo on the wall. I am trying so hard, Dad, but I do not know if I can save it. I am sorry. Her father smiled at her from the photo, frozen in that happy moment years ago. Maya remembered the day that picture was taken. She had been 12 years old. A customer had brought in a beautiful old motorcycle that everyone said was beyond repair. Her father had worked on it for 3 months, restoring every part. When it was done, it looked like new. The customer had cried and taken that photo to remember the moment. That was the kind of mechanic her father had been. The kind who cared more about doing good work than making money. The kind who helped people because it was the right thing to do. Just like Maya had done tonight. She knew she had made the business situation worse by helping those boys for free. She knew it was not a smart choice. But somehow sitting there at 3 in the morning, completely exhausted and broke, she did not regret it. Some things were more important than money. Maya locked up the shop and started walking to the bus stop. The rain had stopped completely now. The streets were empty and quiet. Her wet shoes squeaked with every step. By the time she got home and fell into bed, it was almost 4 in the morning. She slept for 4 hours, then dragged herself back to the shop. Another day, another chance to try to save her father's legacy. But Maya had no idea that 15 kilometers away, 3 teenage boys were doing something that would change everything. Jinho, Minseo, and Taewon had ridden home safely. Their parents had been worried and angry about them being out so late. But when the boys explained what happened, how a kind mechanic had saved them, their parents softened. The boys had talked for hours after getting home, too excited to sleep. They kept saying the same thing over and over. They had to do something to thank Maya. They could not just forget what she did. But what could 3 teenagers with no money do? Taewon had an idea. He was the quietest of the 3, but he was good with computers and the internet. He knew about online forums where motorcycle riders talked to each other. He belonged to several groups where people shared stories and photos of their rides. "We should tell people what happened," Taewon said. "We should tell everyone about what she did for us." "But what good would that do?" Minseo asked. "Stories do not pay her bills." "Maybe not," Taewon said. "But people should know. The motorcycle community should know there is someone like her out there." That morning, while Maya was opening her shop and preparing for another slow day, Taewon was at his computer. He went to the biggest Korean motorcycle forum online. Thousands of riders from all over the country used it. He created a new post and started typing. He titled it, "A Mechanic Angel Saved 3 Kids in the Rain." Then he told the whole story. How their bikes broke down in the storm. How they found Maya's shop. How she made them tea and fixed all 3 motorcycles for free while they slept. How she worked for hours in the pouring rain using her own parts, refusing payment. How she told them to just help someone else someday. Taewon included the name and address of the shop. He uploaded photos he had taken of his motorcycle in the small shop. He wrote about how young Maya was, how tired she looked, but how she still helped them without hesitation. At the end, he wrote, "I do not know if anyone will read this, but I wanted people to know. There are still good people in the world, people who help strangers just because it is the right thing. I will never forget her, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to be that kind of person." He posted it at 8 in the morning. Then he went to school, not expecting much to happen. Maybe a few people would read it. Maybe they would leave nice comments. That would be enough. But Taewon had no idea what he had just started. By lunchtime, his post had 50 replies. By the time school ended, there were 200. By evening, it had been shared to other forums, other social media sites. Thousands of people were reading the story of the mechanic girl who helped 3 teenagers in the rain. The comments came flooding in. Riders from all over Korea started sharing their own stories. Stories of mechanics who had helped them when they were broke. Stories of strangers who stopped to help when their bikes broke down on the highway. Stories of the motorcycle community taking care of its own. Everyone was talking about Maya. Who was this young woman? Where was her shop? Why was she struggling? What could they do to help? Some comments said they should all ride to her shop and thank her. Others said they should donate money. Some suggested both. The idea started spreading fast. Within hours, it was not just an idea anymore. People were making real plans. Saturday morning came with clear blue skies. The storm had passed, leaving everything clean and fresh. Maya opened her shop at 9 o'clock, just like every other day. She expected maybe 2 or 3 customers if she was lucky. Saturday was sometimes busy, but lately even weekends had been slow. She swept the shop floor and organized her tools. She checked her supplies and made a list of parts she needed to order, if she could afford them. Then she made herself coffee and sat at the desk, trying not to think about the rent deadline that was racing toward her. At 9:30, her first customer arrived. An older man with a scooter that needed an oil change. Easy work. Maya finished it in 20 minutes and charged him a fair price. He paid and left, wishing her a good weekend. Then silence again. Maya worked on some paperwork. She fixed a shelf that had been loose for weeks. She cleaned parts she had already cleaned yesterday. Anything to stay busy and not think too much. Meanwhile, across Busan and in cities far away, something extraordinary was happening. Something Maya could not have imagined even in her wildest dreams. In a parking lot near Seoul, over 100 motorcycles were gathering. Sport bikes with bright colors, cruisers with chrome that caught the sunlight, vintage bikes that riders had spent years restoring, even some scooters because every rider was welcome today. Dae-sung stood near his bike watching more riders arrive every few minutes. He had been coordinating through the night, making sure everyone knew the meeting point and the departure time. His phone kept buzzing with messages from other groups in different cities. Everyone was ready. "How many do we have now?" asked his friend Junho, who rode a black sport bike. "Over 300 confirmed," Daesung said. "Maybe more. Other groups are meeting in different places and will join us on the way." Junho shook his head in amazement. "I have never seen anything like this. All because of one girl who helped 3 kids. "That is exactly why," Daesung said. "She reminded us what this community is supposed to be. Now we remind her that she is not alone." At another meeting point in Daegu, more riders gathered. Young people, old people, men, women. Some had been riding for decades. Others had just gotten their first bike last month. But they all understood the story. They all wanted to be part of this. News crews had noticed the unusual gatherings. Reporters started approaching riders, asking questions. What was happening? Where were they going? Why so many at once? The riders explained. They told the story of Maya and the 3 teenage boys. They showed the viral post on their phones. They talked about the motorcycle community and how important it was to take care of each other. One reporter, a young woman from a local news station, saw the story's power immediately. "Can we follow you?" she asked Daesung. "Can we film this? I think people need to see it." "Yes," Daesung said. "This should be seen. Maybe it will inspire others to help people too." The reporter called her station. Within an hour, they had a crew ready with cameras. Other news stations heard about it and sent their own crews. This was becoming bigger than anyone expected. At exactly 11 o'clock in the morning, the first group started their engines. Over 100 motorcycles roaring to life at the same moment. The sound was incredible, like thunder rolling across the city. People on the street stopped and stared. Some pulled out phones to record the sight. The massive convoy started moving. They rode in formation, careful and respectful of traffic laws. But there were so many of them that the line of motorcycles seemed endless. They rode south toward Busan, picking up more riders at planned points along the highway. Other groups left from their own cities at the same time, all heading to the same destination. All going to a small repair shop on the edge of Busan that most people had never heard of before. Maya was completely unaware of any of this. At noon, she ate lunch alone in her shop, cup noodles and a can of soda. She looked at her father's photo while she ate. "Slow day today, Dad," she said to the picture, "but at least it is peaceful." She had no idea that peaceful was about to end. She had no idea that her life was about to change in a way she could never have predicted. At 12:30, a customer came in with a motorcycle that needed a new chain. Maya got to work, grateful for something to do. She was under the bike working on the chain when she heard something strange. A sound, distant but getting closer, like thunder but different, steady and rhythmic, mechanical. Maya slid out from under the bike and stood up, listening. The customer heard it too. "What is that?" he asked. "I am not sure," Maya said. But something about the sound made her heart beat faster. It was familiar. She knew that sound. She just could not believe what her brain was telling her it was. The sound grew louder, much louder. It was definitely engines. Motorcycle engines. Lots of them. But why would so many bikes be coming this way? Her shop was not on a main road. Riders did not pass by here in groups. Maya walked to the front of her shop and looked down the street. She saw other shop owners coming out too, looking around in confusion. The sound was getting so loud now that it was shaking the windows. Then she saw them. Around the corner, motorcycles appeared. 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. Then more. A river of motorcycles flowing down her street. They kept coming, and Maya's mind could not process what she was seeing. Her customer came to stand beside her. "What in the world?" The motorcycles started pulling over. They filled her small parking area in seconds. Then they lined the street. Then they filled the empty lot next door. More kept coming. The sound was deafening now. Dozens of engines, then hundreds. The whole world seemed to be vibrating with the sound of motorcycles. Maya's hands started shaking. She pressed them against her chest, trying to calm her racing heart. This could not be happening. This could not be real. Why were all these people here? There had to be a mistake. They must be looking for something else, but they were all stopping. They were all parking. They were all looking at her shop. The engines started shutting off one by one. As the sound faded, Maya heard something else. People talking. Excited voices, footsteps, so many footsteps. At least 200 people, maybe 300, all getting off their bikes and moving toward her shop. Maya took a step back. She felt dizzy and confused. Her customer looked just as shocked as she was. Then she saw three familiar faces pushing through the crowd, Jinho, Minso, and Taewon, the three boys from Thursday night. They were grinning from ear to ear, practically running toward her. "Miss Maya," Jinho shouted. He was out of breath and laughing at the same time. "We brought some friends." Maya could not speak. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. She just stared at the three boys, then at the massive crowd behind them, then back at the boys. "We told people what you did," Taewon said, his eyes shining with tears and joy. "We told them how you helped us. And everyone wanted to come thank you." "Everyone," Minseo added, gesturing at the huge crowd. "Wanted to meet the mechanic who worked in the rain all night for three kids she did not know." A tall man stepped forward from the crowd. He was wearing a leather jacket with patches from different motorcycle clubs. He had kind eyes and a warm smile. "This was Daesung, Miss Park Maya," he said formally. "My name is Kim Daesung. I am president of the Seoul Writers Club. It is an honor to meet you." He held out an envelope. It was thick, stuffed with papers or something else. Maya looked at it but did not take it. She still could not make her body work properly. This could not be real. She must be dreaming or sick or losing her mind. "Please," Daesung said gently. "Take it. This is from all of us. From every writer here." Maya's hand moved on its own. She took the envelope. It felt heavy. With shaking fingers, she opened it. Inside was cash. Lots of cash. More money than she had ever seen in one place. Bills of every denomination, neatly stacked. Her legs went weak. The world tilted. Strong hands caught her arms. Taesung and Jinho were holding her up, helping her stay on her feet. "How much?" Maya whispered. Her voice sounded far away, like someone else was speaking. "How much is this?" "Enough," Daesung said. "Enough for your rent for 6 months. Enough for repairs on your shop. Enough for new parts and tools. We collected donations from over 300 writers, and more money is still coming in online. Every person here gave what they could because they wanted to help you the way you helped these three boys." Maya looked at the envelope again. Then at the money. Then at the massive crowd of people who were all watching her with smiles on their faces, writers of every age and type, families, old men, young women, all here for her. "I do not understand," Maya said. Tears were streaming down her face now, and she could not stop them. "Why, I just fixed some bikes. That is all. It was nothing special." "It was everything special," said an older woman pushing through the crowd. She had gray hair and wore a leather jacket covered in writing patches from all over Asia. 30 years ago I was broke, and my bike broke down far from home. A mechanic I did not know fixed it for free. He told me to pay it forward. I never forgot that. What you did reminded me of him, reminded all of us of the times people helped us when we needed it." Other voices called out from the crowd, sharing their own stories. "A stranger towed me 50 kilometers when my bike died on the highway. A shop owner gave me free repairs when I was a student with no money. Another writer shared his last bottle of water with me when I got stranded in the heat." The stories kept coming. Everyone had been helped by someone. Everyone had received unexpected kindness. And Maya's story had reminded them of those moments, had reminded them of what the writing community was supposed to be. Maya sat down hard on the shop steps. She could not stand anymore. She held the envelope against her chest and cried. Not sad tears, not happy tears exactly either. Something bigger than happiness. Something that felt like her heart was breaking and healing at the same time. Jinho sat down next to her. Then Minseo and Taewon, the three boys who had started all of this with one forum post. They did not say anything. They just sat with her while she cried. The crowd gave her time. They understood. This was overwhelming. This was too much to process. They waited patiently. These hundreds of writers who had come from cities far away just to say thank you to a mechanic who had helped 3 teenagers in the rain. News cameras were filming everything. Reporters were getting interviews from writers. The story was being broadcast live. Across Korea, people were watching this moment on their televisions and phones. They were watching a young woman who had almost lost everything, being saved by a community that refused to let one of their own fall. When Maya could finally breathe again, she looked up at the crowd through her tears. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was small and broken. "Thank you so much. You do not know what this means. I thought I was going to lose my shop. I thought I failed my father. I thought everything was over." "Nothing is over," Daesung said. "This is just beginning. You are part of a family now, the Ryder family. We take care of our own, always." The crowd erupted in cheers and applause. Motorcycle engines started revving in celebration. The sound filled the air, joyful and loud and proud. Maya covered her face and cried harder, overwhelmed by the love coming from all these strangers who were not strangers anymore. The celebration continued as more riders kept arriving. The line of motorcycles stretched down the street as far as Maya could see. Every time she thought the last one had arrived, more appeared around the corner. The small street that was usually so quiet now looked like a motorcycle festival. Maya stood up slowly, still holding the envelope of money against her chest like it might disappear if she let go. Her customer, the man whose chain she had been replacing, stood nearby looking amazed. "I guess you do not need to finish my bike right now," he said with a kind smile. "I think you have other things to deal with." Maya laughed, a wet, shaky sound. "I am so sorry. I do not even know what is happening." "Do not apologize," the man said. "This is beautiful. Finish my bike another day. I will come back." He shook her hand firmly. "You deserve this. All of it." He left, carefully walking through the crowd of riders. Maya watched him go, then turned back to face the hundreds of people in front of her shop. It still did not feel real. Her brain kept trying to understand how her normal, quiet Saturday had turned into this. Daesung raised his hand, asking for quiet. The crowd settled down, though the energy in the air remained electric. He turned to Maya. "We have more than just money for you," he said. "May I speak for a moment? To tell you what else we want to do?" Maya nodded. She could not find words anyway. Her throat was too tight with emotion. Daesung addressed the crowd. This woman worked all night in the rain to help 3 young riders she did not know. She used her own parts. She refused payment even though her shop is struggling. That is the spirit of our community. That is who we are supposed to be. The crowd cheered their agreement. Someone shouted, "That is right." Others clapped and whistled. Daesung continued. "So we brought money, yes, but money is not enough. We want to do more. We want to make sure she never has to struggle like this again." He gestured to a group of older men standing together near the back. They came forward. All of them wore jackets with patches showing they were veteran mechanics and longtime riders. "These men," Daesung said, "are master mechanics from different shops across Korea. They have volunteered to come here on weekends to train you, Maya, to teach you advanced techniques, to help you become the best mechanic you can be. They want to pass their knowledge to you, the way your father passed his knowledge to you." One of the older mechanics stepped forward. He had white hair and kind, wrinkled eyes. "My name is Park Sang-ho. I am not related to you, but we share the same family name, and today we share the same family spirit. I owned my shop for 40 years before I retired. I would be honored to teach you what I know." Maya pressed her hand over her mouth. More tears fell. These men, these masters of their craft, wanted to help her, wanted to teach her. It was more than she could have dreamed of asking for. Another man spoke up. He looked younger, maybe in his 40s. "I own a parts supply company in Daegu. I heard about what you did and I want to help too. I will give you a 30% discount on all parts for the next year, and I will make sure you never run out of the basics. Call me anytime, day or night." "I have a shop in Seoul," another woman said. She looked strong and confident, her gray hair cut short. "If you ever need tools or equipment, I will lend them to you, free, no questions asked. I know how expensive tools are. I struggled with that when I was starting out too." More offers came. A retired accountant volunteered to help her organize her finances and bookkeeping. A marketing person offered to make her shop a website and social media pages. A welder said he would repair her shop's roof that had been leaking. A painter offered to repaint her sign and building. Everyone wanted to help. Everyone wanted to contribute something. The motorcycle community was not just giving her money. They were giving her a network, a support system, a family. Maya could barely see through her tears now. Jinho put his hand on her shoulder, steadying her. The 3 boys stood close, like protective younger brothers. "There is one more thing," Daesung said. He pulled out something from inside his jacket. It was a leather jacket folded neatly. He unfolded it and held it up. It was beautiful. High-quality black leather with silver zippers. But what made Maya gasp was the back. Embroidered in beautiful silver thread was her shop's name, Parks Motorcycle Repair. Below that, it said, "Where riders help riders." The stitching was perfect. Professional work. "We made this last night," Daesung explained. "We had 3 different leather workers rush to finish it. This is yours. When you wear this, every rider in Korea will know who you are. They will know you are one of us. They will know they can trust you." He stepped forward and helped Maya put on the jacket. It fit perfectly. The leather was soft and comfortable, not stiff like new leather usually was. Someone had treated it to make it flexible. The weight of it on her shoulders felt right. Like armor, like belonging. The crowd erupted again. Cheers, applause, motorcycle engines revving. People were taking photos. The news cameras were capturing everything. Maya stood there in her new jacket, crying and laughing at the same time, completely overwhelmed. A young woman pushed through the crowd. She looked about Maya's age, with short black hair and multiple ear piercings. She had Women Riders Korea patches on her jacket. "Hi," she said with a bright smile. "I am Lee Sumi. I ride with an all-female motorcycle club in Busan. We heard about you and we want you to ride with us. We meet every Sunday morning. We would love to have you join us when you have time." "I do not have a motorcycle anymore," Maya admitted, embarrassed. "I sold mine 2 months ago to pay for shop supplies." Sumi's eyes widened. "You sold your bike to keep helping others? That makes us want you in our club even more." She pulled out a card with her phone number. "Call me, we will figure something out. Maybe we can help you get another bike. We have connections with sellers who might give you a good deal." More women riders gathered around, introducing themselves. Maya had always been a bit lonely, working alone in the shop every day. She had friends from school, but they did not understand her love of motorcycles. These women understood. They spoke her language. While Maya was meeting the other riders, Taewon was showing people his phone. He was showing them the original forum post that had started everything, now with over 50,000 comments and shares. It had become the most popular post in the history of Korean motorcycle forums. "Look at this comment," Taewon said to Min Seo. "This person from Jeju Island says they wish they could have come. They sent money online instead." "This one is from Japan," Min Seo pointed. "They say the Japanese riding community wants to do something similar for mechanics there, who help people." The story was spreading beyond Korea. International motorcycle communities were hearing about it. The simple act of one mechanic helping 3 teenagers in the rain was inspiring riders around the world. Maya's phone started ringing. She pulled it from her pocket and saw her mother's name. Her heart jumped. She had forgotten her mother was working today at the hospital. "Hello?" Maya answered, stepping away from the crowd a little. "Maya!" Her mother's voice was crying and laughing at the same time. "Maya, I saw the news. Everyone at the hospital is watching. Is it real? Are all those people really there?" "Yes, Mom," Maya said, starting to cry again. "It is real. They came to help us. We can save the shop. We can save Dad's shop." Her mother sobbed on the other end of the line. "Your father would be so proud. So incredibly proud. Not just because they are helping, but because you did the right thing. You helped those boys even when we needed money. You were like your father. You have his heart. I learned from him," Maya said. "Everything good about me I learned from him. I am coming there," her mother said. "My shift ends in an hour. I want to meet these people. I want to thank them." "Okay, Mom, I will be here. I am not going anywhere." When Maya hung up, she found that someone had brought food. Lots of food. Riders had gone to nearby restaurants and bought takeout for everyone. Tables appeared from somewhere. People were setting up a feast on the sidewalk. This was turning into a full celebration. "Come eat," Daesung said to Maya. "You must be hungry, and there are many people who want to meet you." For the next few hours, Maya talked to rider after rider. Each one had a story to share. Stories of kindness they had received. Stories of the motorcycle community, helping them through hard times. Some had lost loved ones to accidents and found comfort in riding groups. Some had overcome addiction or depression through the riding community. For so many of them, motorcycles were not just a hobby. They were therapy. They were family. They were life. An elderly man who must have been at least 70 years old took Maya's hand in both of his. His hands were rough and scarred, the hands of someone who had worked hard their whole life. "I have been riding for 52 years, he said, his voice shaky with age and emotion. "I have seen many things in the riding community. good and bad. But today is special. Today reminds me why I fell in love with motorcycles in the first place. It is not about the machines. It is about the people. Thank you for reminding us who we are. A group of teenagers came up together, all wearing matching club jackets. They looked about the same age as Jinho, Minseo, and Taewon. We just got our licenses last month, one girl said shyly. We are new to all of this. But this is how we want to start. Learning that riding is about helping each other. Thank you for showing us that. Maya hugged the girl. Then she hugged the rest of them. These were the future of the riding community. If they learned these values now, they would carry them forward for decades. As the afternoon went on, local shop owners from nearby came to see what was happening. They brought drinks and more food. Some of them knew Maya, had watched her father run the shop for years. They were moved by seeing the community come together for one of their own. The news coverage continued. Reporters interviewed dozens of people. The story was on every news channel now. Social media was exploding with the hashtag #MechanicAngel. People across Korea who did not even ride motorcycles were moved by the story. It was becoming about more than just motorcycles. It was about human kindness, about community, about people taking care of each other. Maya's mother arrived around 6 in the evening. She pushed through the crowd, which had grown even larger as locals joined. When she saw Maya in the leather jacket, surrounded by hundreds of smiling people, she broke down crying. Maya ran to her and hugged her tight. They held each other and cried, releasing months of stress and fear and worry. The crowd gave them space, respecting the private moment between mother and daughter. We are going to be okay, Maya whispered to her mother. The shop is saved. Dad's legacy is saved. Her mother pulled back and looked at her daughter's face. Your father's legacy is not just the shop, Maya. It is you. It is the kindness you showed to strangers. That is what he would care about most. Daesung came over and bowed respectfully to Maya's mother. Mrs. Park, your daughter is extraordinary. She has united the entire Korean riding community in one day. We will make sure she is never alone in this work again. Maya's mother bowed back. Thank you. Thank you all. I have been so worried about her working alone, struggling. Knowing she has this family now brings me more peace than I can express. As the sun started to set, casting orange and pink light across the sky, the crowd showed no signs of leaving. More riders were still arriving, having heard about the gathering and riding over after work. The street was completely packed now. The police had shown up earlier, not to break things up, but to help direct traffic and make sure everyone was safe. Even they were moved by what was happening. Maya stood on a chair so everyone could see her. The crowd quieted down, waiting to hear what she would say. She looked at all the faces looking back at her. Young and old, rich and poor, from cities far away and from right here in her neighborhood, all united by their love of riding and their belief in helping each other. I do not have good words, Maya began. Her voice shook, but she pushed on. I am not good at speeches, but I need to say something. The crowd waited patiently. Maya took a deep breath and looked at the hundreds of faces watching her. The whole street was silent except for the sound of wind rustling through trees and distant traffic. Even that seemed quiet compared to the roar of engines and voices from earlier. Thursday night, Maya continued. I fixed 3 motorcycles because it felt like the right thing to do. I did not think about it much. I just saw 3 kids who needed help, and I remembered being that age. I remembered people who helped me when I had nothing. I was just passing that forward. She looked down at Jinho, Minseo, and Taewon, who stood right in front of her chair. They were looking up at her with shining eyes. I never expected anything to come from it. I never wanted anything. That is not why you help people. You help because you can, because they need it, because it is right. Maya's voice got stronger. My father taught me that. He taught me that fixing motorcycles is not really about the machines. It is about the people who ride them. It is about the dreams those machines represent. Freedom, adventure, community. The crowd murmured agreement. Several people wiped their eyes. This morning I woke up scared. I was about to lose my father's shop. Everything he built was going to disappear. I felt like I had failed him, failed his memory. Maya's voice broke, but she kept going. And then you came. All of you. From cities I have never visited. From clubs I have never heard of. You came to save me the way I tried to save 3 teenagers Friday night. She looked around at everyone, trying to see as many faces as she could. You did not just bring money. You brought hope. You brought family. You showed me that I am not alone, that none of us are alone if we take care of each other. Applause started, but Maya raised her hand. She had more to say. I promise you this, she said loudly, her voice carrying across the crowd. This shop will always be a place where riders are family. If you are stranded, come here. If you are broke, come here. If you just need someone who understands, come here. I will help everyone the way you helped me today. This is not just my shop anymore. It belongs to all of us now. The crowd erupted. People cheered and clapped and whistled. Motorcycle engines roared to life in celebration, creating a symphony of sound that echoed through the neighborhood. Maya stepped down from the chair, and immediately people surrounded her, wanting to shake her hand, hug her, take photos with her. She spent the next hour meeting people, memorizing faces and names. A father and his teenage daughter who rode matching bikes. A group of veterans who said riding saved their lives after the military. A young couple who had met through a riding club and were getting married next month. They invited Maya to the wedding. She said yes. As twilight deepened into night, people started to leave. They had long rides home, but they left slowly, reluctantly, wanting to hold on to this special day a little longer. Before each person left, they made sure Maya had their contact information. They wanted to stay connected. They wanted to be there if she ever needed help again. Dae-sung was one of the last to prepare to leave. He handed Maya a folder full of papers. These are contacts for everyone who volunteered to help you. The mechanics who will train you. The parts supplier. The accountant, everyone, call them anytime. They mean it. I do not know how to thank you, Maya said. You organized all of this, Dae-sung smiled. I just made some phone calls. The community did the rest. We were waiting for a reason to come together like this. You gave us that reason. He shook her hand firmly. I will come back to visit. I want to see how the shop grows. You are always welcome, Maya said. She watched him ride away with his club members, their taillights disappearing into the darkness. More groups left in formations, riding together for safety on the long journey home. The sound of their engines faded slowly like a song ending. By 9 o'clock, only a few people remained. The three boys, of course. Maya's mother, sitting on a chair and still looking amazed at everything that had happened. A few local riders who lived nearby and had come to see the gathering. And the older mechanic, Park Sang-ho, who had volunteered to train her. Sang-ho approached Maya. Can I look at your shop? I want to see what you have to work with. Maya nodded and led him inside. He walked around slowly, examining her tools, her workspace, her equipment. He nodded approvingly several times. Your father taught you well, he said. Everything is organized logically. Your tools are clean and maintained properly. The workspace is efficient. He pointed to a few things, but I can help you improve. Small things that will make big differences. We will start next Saturday if that is good for you. Yes, Maya said quickly. Yes, that is perfect. Thank you so much, Sang-ho smiled. I am old now. My hands hurt from arthritis, but my brain still works. I still remember everything I learned in 40 years of running a shop. Let me pass that knowledge to you before I forget it all. He left shortly after, but not before giving Maya his phone number 3 times to make sure she had it correct. Call me if you have any questions during the week. Even small questions. I mean it. Maya's mother helped her clean up. There was a lot to clean. Food containers, paper plates, empty bottles. The neighborhood looked like a party had happened, which it had. But it was a happy mess. A celebration mess. I should get home, Maya's mother said around 10. I have another shift tomorrow. Mom, Maya said, with this money, maybe you can work less. Maybe you can rest more. Her mother touched Maya's face gently. Maybe, we will see. For now, I am just grateful you can keep the shop. That means everything to me, and to your father's memory. After her mother left, Maya sat alone in the shop for the first time since that morning. It felt different now. The same space, the same walls, but somehow it felt bigger, fuller. Like all the people who had been there today had left some of their energy behind. She looked at the envelope of money still sitting on her desk. She had been almost afraid to open it all the way, to count it. It felt too good to be true. But now she did. She counted it carefully. There was enough for 6 months of rent, like Dae-sung said, plus money for repairs, plus money for new parts, plus extra that she could save for emergencies. Maya put her head down on the desk and cried one more time. Relief crying, grateful crying. She cried for her father, wishing he could have seen this day. She cried for her mother, who could finally stop worrying so much. She cried for herself, for the fear that had been choking her for months and was finally loosening its grip. When she finished crying, she felt lighter, clean, like the rain had washed away something heavy she had been carrying. She pulled out her phone and looked at the forum post that Taewon had made. It now had over 100,000 comments and had been shared more than 1 million times. Her story had gone around the world. Writers in America, Europe, Australia, Africa were all talking about the mechanic in Korea who helped 3 teenagers in the rain. Many comments said they wanted to do similar things in their own communities, help mechanics who were struggling, organize rides to support shop owners, create networks so no rider ever felt alone. Maya's simple act of kindness had sparked something bigger than anyone expected. Her phone buzzed with a text message. It was from Sumi, the woman from the Female Writers Club. "Are you okay? Today was crazy. Want to meet for coffee this week? I want to get to know you better." Maya smiled and typed back, "Yes, I would love that." Another message came in. Then another. People checking on her, sending encouragement, sharing photos from today. Her phone would not stop buzzing. She had gone from being alone to having hundreds of new friends in one day. She finally left the shop around midnight. Before she locked the door, she turned and looked at her father's photo one more time. "We did it, Dad," she whispered. "We saved your shop. And we made you proud, I think." "I hope." The photo seemed to smile at her in the dim light. Maya smiled back. She walked to the bus stop, but this time she did not feel tired or defeated. She felt strong, hopeful, ready for whatever came next. The leather jacket kept her warm against the cool night air. She touched the embroidered words on the back. Where writers help writers, that was who she was now. That was who they all were. The next few days were busy in a way Maya had never experienced. Her phone rang constantly with writers calling to check on her or ask about getting their bike serviced. People wanted to support her shop now that they knew about it. She had to start making appointments because so many customers were coming in. The news coverage continued. Her story was picked up by international news outlets. She gave several interviews, though she felt awkward talking about herself so much. She just wanted to work on motorcycles. But she understood that her story meant something to people. It reminded them that kindness mattered. Tuesday afternoon, the 3 boys came by after school. They had brought their friends. 6 teenagers total, all interested in motorcycles. "Can we watch you work?" Jinho asked. "We want to learn. Maybe you can teach us?" Maya looked at them. 6 young people with eager faces. She thought about Sangho teaching her. She thought about knowledge being passed down, generation to generation. She thought about her father teaching her when she was young. "Yes," she said. "Come in, I will show you." She spent 2 hours teaching them basic maintenance. How to check oil. How to clean a chain properly. How to identify common problems by sound. They listened intently, asking good questions, taking notes on their phones. "You are good teachers," Taewon said. "You explain things clearly. Not everyone can do that." "My father was a good teacher," Maya said. "I learned from watching him teach others." Wednesday evening, Sangho came by even though they had planned to start on Saturday. "I could not wait," he admitted. "I have been thinking about your shop all week. I brought some things." He had brought specialized tools that he no longer needed. Expensive tools that would have cost Maya thousands of won to buy new. "These are yours now," he said. "I want them to be used, not sitting in my garage." They spent 3 hours talking about motorcycle repair. Sangho shared tricks he had learned over decades. Small techniques that made difficult jobs easier. Ways to diagnose problems that were not in any manual. Knowledge that could only come from experience. "You have good instincts," he told Maya. "Your father taught you the technical skills. Now I will teach you the art. There is a difference." Thursday, the parts supplier called to tell her that her first order was ready and the discount was applied. "I also threw in some extra items for free," he said. "Things I think you will need. Consider it a gift." Friday evening, Maya sat at her desk doing paperwork, something she used to hate but now did not mind so much. The numbers looked good for the first time in months. The shop was going to survive. More than survive. It was going to grow. She heard motorcycles outside and looked up. Sumi and 3 other women from the Writers Club pulled up. They had said they were coming to take Maya out for dinner, to welcome her properly to their group. "Ready?" Sumi asked, poking her head in the door. "Let me lock up," Maya said. She rode on the back of Sumi's bike to a restaurant where more women riders were waiting. 12 women total, ranging in age from early 20s to late 50s. They ordered too much food and talked for hours. They shared stories about riding, about their lives, about the challenges of being women in a male-dominated community. It is changing, though, an older woman named Hyejin said. More women are riding now. And the men are mostly supportive. The good ones are, anyway. Maya will help change it too, Sumi said. A female mechanic? That is rare. You will inspire other women to learn. Maya had not thought about it that way. She was just doing what she loved. But maybe Sumi was right. Maybe she could help other women see that they belonged in this world too. 3 months passed like a dream that Maya kept thinking she would wake up from, but never did. The changes to her life and her shop were real and lasting. The first thing Maya did with the donation money was pay 6 months of rent in advance. Her landlord was surprised and happy. He told her he had never wanted to evict her anyway, that he had known her father and respected him. But business was business, and he had bills too. Maya understood. Now neither of them had to worry. The second thing she did was fix everything in the shop that needed fixing. The roof that leaked when it rained, the broken window in the back, the electrical outlets that sometimes sparked, the concrete floor that had cracks. She hired workers to make all the repairs properly. The shop started to look professional again, the way it had when her father was alive. She used some money to buy new tools and restock her parts inventory. The discount from the Daegu supplier helped a lot. Now when customers came in, she did not have to tell them she needed to order parts and they would have to wait. She could fix most bikes the same day. The shop sign got repainted by the volunteer who had offered. It looked beautiful now, bright and professional. People could see it clearly from the street. He also painted the exterior walls a clean white with blue trim. Maya cried when she saw it finished. Her father would have loved it. But the biggest change was not physical. It was the customers. They came in steady streams now. Not just from the local area, but from across Busan and even other cities. Riders made special trips to bring their bikes to the mechanic who helped those kids in the rain. They wanted to support her. They wanted to be part of her story. Maya had to hire help. She put out a job posting and got 50 applications in 2 days. She chose a young man named Kim Junho, who was 20 years old and studying mechanical engineering at university. He needed part-time work and wanted hands-on experience with motorcycles. He was eager to learn and did not mind the hard work. I saw your story on the news, Junho told her on his first day. I thought that is the kind of place I want to work, where people care about more than just money. Junho was a fast learner. Maya taught him the way her father had taught her. Patient explanations, hands-on practice, letting him make small mistakes so he could learn from them. Within a month, he could handle basic repairs on his own, which freed Maya to focus on the more complex jobs. The boys, Jinho, Minseo, and Taiwan, came by after school several times a week. They did not just watch anymore. They helped. They swept floors, organized tools, cleaned parts, and assisted with repairs. Maya paid them a small amount even though they said they would work for free. You need to learn that work has value, she told them. Even if you love doing it, your time and effort matter. They saved their money religiously. They were planning to upgrade their motorcycles when they had enough. But they also started a fund to help other young riders who might need assistance. They wanted to pass forward what Maya had done for them. Saturday sessions with Sangho became the highlight of Maya's week. The old mechanic came every Saturday morning at 9 and stayed until lunch. He taught her advanced techniques she had never learned. How to rebuild engines completely, how to work with vintage motorcycles that had parts that were no longer made, how to customize bikes for individual riders' needs. You are becoming a master, Sangho told her after 2 months of training. You have the skills now. You just need more experience, and that will come with time. Other mechanics from the riding community visited too, sharing their expertise. A woman from Seoul taught her about electrical systems. A man from Daegu showed her frame alignment techniques. A retired racer taught her about performance tuning. Maya absorbed everything like a sponge, grateful for every lesson. She started offering free basic maintenance classes on Sunday afternoons. She taught riders how to do simple tasks themselves. Change oil, adjust chains, check brake pads, clean air filters. The classes filled up immediately and she had to add more sessions. You are losing business, Junho pointed out one day. If you teach them to do it themselves, they will not pay you to do it. Maya smiled. My father always said the best mechanics teach riders to take care of their own bikes. The trust you build is worth more than the money from small jobs. When they have big problems, they will come to someone they trust. She was right. The riders who took her classes became loyal customers. They recommended her shop to everyone they knew. The business kept growing. Her mother was able to cut back to part-time at the hospital. She started helping with the shop's bookkeeping and scheduling appointments. It was nice having her mother there. The shop felt more like a family business again. Your father would burst with pride if he could see this, her mother said often. She had put up more photos of him around the shop. In every photo, he was smiling. Maya liked that. She wanted people to know he had been happy here. The Women's Riding Club adopted Maya as an official member. They rode together every Sunday morning when the shop was closed. Maya bought a used motorcycle with some of the donation money. Nothing fancy. A reliable bike that ran well. The first time she rode with the group, she felt a freedom she had not felt in months. The wind on her face, the road ahead, friends around her. This was why people loved riding. Sumi became one of her closest friends. They met for coffee or meals several times a week. Sumi worked as a graphic designer and helped Maya create business cards, flyers, and social media posts. The shop's online presence grew, bringing in even more customers. You are a celebrity in the motorcycle world now, Sumi teased. You need to maintain your image, Maya laughed. She did not feel like a celebrity. She felt like a mechanic who got very lucky. But she accepted that her story had touched people. If that helped her business, she was grateful. The forum post that started everything remained pinned at the top of the Korean motorcycle forum. Taewon had it printed and framed it as a gift for Maya. She hung it on the wall next to her father's photo. The two things together represented everything important to her. Her father's legacy and the community that saved it. News outlets occasionally called asking for follow-up stories. Maya did a few interviews, but mostly said no. She did not want to be famous. She just wanted to work on motorcycles and help people. The interviews she did do. She used to talk about the importance of community and helping others. One interview went viral because of something she said. The reporter asked her what advice she would give to young people starting out in any field. Maya thought for a moment and then said, "Do not focus only on success. Focus on being the kind of person others want to help. If you are kind, if you work hard, if you care about people and not just profit, your community will support you. Success follows character, not the other way around." That quote was shared thousands of times. It appeared on posters and social media graphics. Maya was embarrassed but pleased. If her words helped even one person, it was worth the discomfort of attention. One rainy evening, exactly 3 months after the big gathering, Maya was working alone in the shop. Junio had left for classes. Her mother had gone home to make dinner. The boys had left after their usual afternoon visit. It was quiet except for the sound of rain on the metal roof. Maya was under a motorcycle replacing brake pads when she heard the sound of an engine outside. She slid out and saw a young rider pulling up. He looked about 18, soaking wet, with a panicked expression on his face. His motorcycle was making a terrible clanking sound. The rider took off his helmet. "Is this Park's motorcycle repair?" "Are you Maya?" "Yes, that is me," Maya said, standing up and wiping grease from her hands. "Oh, thank God," the rider said. "I saw your shop on a forum. Everyone said you were the person to go to. My bike just started making this noise and I am far from home and I do not have much money and I do not know what to do." Maya looked at the scared young man. She saw herself 3 months ago. She saw Jinho, Minso, and Taewon 3 months ago. She saw every young rider who had ever been scared and broke and far from home. "Come inside," she said, gesturing to the shop. "Get out of the rain. Let me make you some tea and I will look at your bike." The rider looked confused. "But I should tell you I only have about 20,000 won." "I know that is probably not enough," Maya smiled. A warm, knowing smile. "Come inside. We will figure it out. That is what we do here." She made him hot tea and gave him a towel to dry his face. She went back out into the rain and started checking his motorcycle. The problem was not too serious. A loose chain that had damaged a sprocket. Fixable, but it would take an hour or two. She went back inside. The young rider was sitting on the same couch where the 3 boys had slept 3 months ago. He looked worried and tried to smile when she came in. "I can fix it," Maya said. "It will take about 2 hours. You can wait here or come back. How much will it cost?" he asked nervously. Maya thought about it. She thought about all the help she had received, all the kindness that had been shown to her, all the people who believed in passing it forward. Just promise me something, she said. What? The writer asked. When you see another writer who needs help someday, you help them. Even if it costs you something. Even if it is inconvenient. You help them the way I am going to help you. Can you promise that? The writer's eyes filled with tears. You are going to fix it for free? I am going to fix it because you need help and I can provide it. That is what the writing community does. We take care of each other. Maya pulled on her raincoat. Now wait here and warm up. I will be back when I am done. She went out into the rain and got to work. The water poured down just like it had 3 months ago. Her hands got cold and stiff just like before. The tools slipped just like before. But Maya did not mind. This was who she was. This was what her shop stood for now. Inside, the young writer watched through the window with amazement and gratitude, just like 3 boys had watched 3 months ago. And maybe, just maybe, he would tell someone about it later, and maybe that story would spread, and maybe more kindness would follow. That was how it worked. That was how communities stayed strong. One act of kindness at a time, passed forward endlessly, creating a chain that could not be broken. 2 hours later, Maya finished the repair. She tested the motorcycle. It ran perfectly now. She went back inside and told the writer he was good to go. He tried to give her his 20,000 won. She refused. Save it for gas money, for protective gear, for the next time you need help, she said. Just remember your promise. The writer bowed deeply, holding the bow for a long time. When he straightened up, tears were running down his face. I will remember. I promise. I will tell everyone about you. I will help others just like you helped me. That is all I ask, Maya said. She watched him ride away into the rainy night. His tail light disappeared around the corner, just like the 3 boys' lights had disappeared 3 months ago. Maya stood in the doorway, rain blowing in and getting her wet. She did not care. She looked up at the sign above her door, the one that had been repainted and now read, Parks Motorcycle Repair, where riders help riders. The words meant something now. They were not just a slogan. They were a promise, a way of life. Maya went back inside and looked at the wall where her father's photo hung. Next to it was the framed forum post. Next to that were photos from the big gathering. Hundreds of riders, all there to help her, all there to show what community meant. We are doing it, Dad, she said to the photo. We are keeping your shop alive. But more than that, we are keeping your spirit alive. The spirit of helping others. The spirit of community. That is your real legacy. She put on some music and started cleaning up for the day. She hummed along to the songs, feeling content, feeling purposeful. The shop would open tomorrow and there would be more work. More riders who needed help. More chances to make a difference. Her phone buzzed. A text from the Women's Riding Club group chat. They were planning their next ride and wanted to know if Maya could come. She replied that she would be there. Another text came in. From Sangho. He had found an old manual for vintage motorcycles and wanted to bring it to her. She thanked him and said she looked forward to seeing it. Another text. From Daesung in Seoul. He was planning to visit Busan next month and wanted to stop by the shop. She told him he was always welcome. Her phone kept buzzing. Her community checking in, staying connected, supporting each other. This was what wealth really meant. Not money in the bank, but people in your corner. People who cared. People who would show up when you needed them. Maya finished cleaning and locked up the shop. She stood outside for a moment, looking at the building that had almost been lost. It stood strong now, repaired, repainted, thriving. A beacon for riders who needed help, a place where people came together. She walked to the bus stop wearing her leather jacket with the shop's name embroidered on the back. People who passed her on the street sometimes recognized her now. They would nod or smile or give her a thumbs up. She was known. She was part of something bigger than herself. On the bus ride home, Maya looked out the window at the rain-slicked streets. She thought about how much her life had changed in 3 months. How one night of helping 3 strangers had transformed everything. She had been ready to give up, to let her father's shop die. But the universe had other plans. Or maybe it was not the universe. Maybe it was just people. Good people who believed in helping each other. People who saw someone struggling and decided to do something about it. That was the real magic. Not fate or destiny or luck. Just human kindness multiplied by community. Maya got home and made dinner. Her mother was already asleep after her hospital shift. Maya ate quietly, then took a shower and changed into comfortable clothes. Before going to bed, she checked her phone one more time. There was a new post on the motorcycle forum. Someone had seen her story and started a similar initiative in their city. They were organizing help for a struggling shop owner there. The post ended with, "Inspired by Maya Park from Busan. This is how we do things now. We help each other." Maya smiled and put her phone down. She turned off the light and lay in bed, listening to the rain outside her window. It was a gentle rain now, not a storm. Peaceful and calming. She thought about her father one more time before sleep came. She hoped he was proud. She hoped he knew that his lessons had not been forgotten. That his kindness lived on through her and through everyone she had touched. The shop would open again tomorrow. More riders would come. More work would need doing. More chances to help would arrive. And Maya would be ready. She would be there, with her tools and her knowledge and her generous heart, just like her father before her. Where riders help riders. That was not just a motto. It was a promise she made every single day. A promise she would keep for the rest of her life. Outside, the rain continued to fall. But it was not cold or threatening anymore. It was just rain. Just water falling from the sky, washing everything clean, making way for tomorrow's sunshine. And tomorrow would be a good day. Maya was sure of it.